Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Anybody there?
Honorable Brinkhuis, we hear you.
I'm here. I think the chairperson is on mute.
Oh, thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody, all the members.
Okay. Can you hear me, honorable members?
Yes, we can, Chair.
Yes, we can.
Now you've been muted again, Chair. Still on mute, Chair, and there was a bit of an echo.
This way. Members, can you hear me? Just. Can you hear me?
Can I chair this meeting?
Okay, let's check member America or member Andrikas or member Lily. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Chair. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. No echo. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate to hear that. Then 18 minutes sharp, then we will start. I'm sorry about that. You know, technology sometimes loves doing these things to us.
I'll go get the people.
Not your problem, Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. And I really want to apologize for the technical glitch that we had just now, but I think all systems go now. Everything is okay. I'm going to start again and introduce myself. My name is Matlodi Maseko, and I'm the Standing Committee Chair for Human Settlements. And I'm going to ask the members to introduce themselves for the record purpose.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Derek America. I'm a member of the committee.
Andrikas van der Westhuizen, also a member of the committee.
Good afternoon, Chair,
Greetings,
Member
Chair.
Provincial.
Good afternoon, Chair and everyone present. My name is Pat Moran, alternate member of this committee.
Afternoon, Chair. Brett Heron, member of the committee.
Thank you very much. We do also have in connection, or I hope, from the Department of Human Settlements in the Western Cape Province. Can they introduce themselves if they are here also with us?
Good morning, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Chairperson and members of the committee and all other dignitaries. My name is Francois de Wet. I'm the CFO for the Department of Human Settlement in the Western Cape. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And from the city of Cape Town, is there any representation?
Yes, Chairperson. My name is Provincial from the Human Settlements Department at the City of Cape Town.
Okay, we didn't hear you, sir. You said your name is?
My name is Pogiso Molapo from the City of Cape Town Human Settlements Department.
Thank
Then I'm Nigel Titus. I represent the Executive Director for Spatial Planning and Environment from the City of Cape Town.
No, we didn't hear also. Can you repeat and say your name.
Thank you, Chair. It's Nigel Titus. I represent the Executive Director for Spatial Planning and Environment from the City of Cape Town.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, is there anyone that would introduce themselves from the department or the city that didn't get a chance?
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Brian Denton here. Good afternoon, members. Brian Denton, Director for Project Administration. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, all dignitaries. Roy Stewart, Land and Asset Management, Department of Human Settlements.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I think now we will go to the apologies. I received the apology from the acting HOD, Ma'am Maisela, and the minister also. They are in the cabinet, so it's not going to be here with us today. And also we did invite the Department of Agricultural Land Reform and Rural Development, and we received communication that says that they have acknowledged our invitation. And as we are aware that the governance system regulating the relationship between the executive and the legislature in South Africa is determined by the Constitution, members of the National Executive account to the National Assembly and to the National Council of Provinces on provincial related matters. So Minister said she therefore recommends that we approach the NCOP for such matters. But the letter that we sent to her department, I just wanted to indicate that it wasn't per se that we invited her, we just wished to see the officials coming that are the ones that are really in contact with the claimants if there's contact that is happening. But they've chosen not to come to the meeting again. Now, we are going to have some operations for the meeting today on how are we going to go about. So we just hold on for a minute for me. I'm going to recognize you from in the house if maybe you raise a hand to highlight something to me. You can only talk and switch on the mic if I've recognized you. And the members, you know the rules. Since the COVID-19, you raise your hand. I've got the procedural officer that will help me to see if you are raising your hand from the screen for you to talk or any clarity that you might have. So the main purpose for today is to make sure that we get the oral submissions from the claimants of the District 6. But I just want to give the background of why we are here today. The process of 2016 for this standing committee, we started 2018. And the department came and to brief us about the land restitution for District 16. And in short, what they said to us was, in terms of the old order claim of District 6, 2,760 people applied as per the Act and requirements by the 31st of December, 1998. And then from 2,760, 1,201 claimants wanted redevelopment, of which the others settled for the financial restitution. So that is the whole story about the housing and the returning to the District 6. Then the department indicated that 333 million was made available for the grant from the grant restitution. The report that we got last from the department was 100 in 2018 was 139 was allocated back to the District 6. And then 1,602 was still waiting. Now that is the communication that we got when they were here with us and giving us that report. Since then, we tried to call the department to engage because we've been getting some of the communication from the District 6 claimants to ask about the housing. But we need to note that the land restitution and the land reform and land restitution is not the provincial mandate. But we do have the part of we do have housing. Housing doesn't fall into the land restitution and the land reform. If there is the housing that is in that department, the department itself, the national department, have to implement. So from the standing committee side, we were saying that because it has taken long, maybe if there is the samenwerking between the national department, the province, they can allocate a certain budget that they can help them to implement the housing part of it. The provincial department being the implementing agent for the Department of Land Reform and Restitution, of which that couldn't happen for one reason or another, that we do understand that there is a lot of responsibility, but it was what we were thinking that at the end it will help the community of District 16 to return back to where they were forcibly removed. So on the 15th September 2021, the committee met to discuss the challenges and the experience that were experienced by the District 6 claimants about this land restitution. The committee then resolved to embark on a public participation process to engage with the claimants' experiences so that we can hear the experience and assist them with unresolved claims in respect of their District 6 claims. So then we did the public participation, of which we advertised on the radio and the newspapers, and the form that or the questions that we asked, I think the District 6 claimants, they saw them, and then that is why we are here today. The public participation process was commenced on the 27th September 2021. And as I said, it was advertised, and then we started on the 27th of September, and the October was the last day for submission. Then we collected this matrix and we sent them to the department so that the department can respond to all the submissions that we received. From there, the responses, they did come, but it would have been nice if the department was here to also communicate with the claimants or communicate with us where we don't understand, so that when we individually send the responses from the department, we already have asked some of the clarity on behalf of the claimants. Like we are saying that is the challenge that we have, that they are not here. Another thing is that there is a POPI Act. I know I do have, or I'm supposed to have, our legal advisor, if I can find out if he has joined us, Advocate Romeo Masdorp. Are you in the meeting also?
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Yes, certainly I am.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you. So there is a POPI Act. I will later request that Advocate Romeo Masdorp can explain why it was difficult also for the department to send the information to us, because if they send the information to us also, you have to give them the permission on that to send it to us. But that we'll discuss on how can we go about with your permission if you want us to get that information. He will explain that on to you, that how can maybe we can go about, if there is a way that we can go about, we'll ask him to help us, to assist us on that. So I'm not going to waste any time, members. I wonder if there is any clarity, members, before I start to give the claimants to do the oral submission. Is there any clarity that you need, or any question that will be directed to me? Okay, I don't see any hand raised, so we are okay so far. So I'm going to give each and everyone. Okay. Can you switch on the mic?
My name is Wasfi Domingo. I'm representing the claimant D491, that is the reference number for my late mother, Zaitun Domingo. I was listening to you, but you're not satisfying me with regard to the communication between the national department and the local departments or the local infrastructure with regard to this specific matter, because if I can have that understanding, then I think I can move forward in this process. Otherwise, we will still be caught up in this gray area.
I think that's the challenge that we do have, because if the department would have come to us to have a conversation, to be able to ask them that question, because from the province, we don't have the mandate of the land reform and restitution. We depend on national to give us all the information that we can give to you. So that is why we're inviting them to come to us so that they can communicate with us, and then we can get the answers that we are looking for. So this public hearing, it's the process that we are trying to get those answers from the department. Hence, we are here. So that's the challenge that we do have. Now, above that challenge, it became the issue of the POPI Act, that before we can get information on your behalf, you have to agree that the department can give us that information if they didn't communicate directly to you. But that is optional. It will be up to each and every individual of the claimant if they agree to that. So it cannot be that all of you say, no, we will agree. Each and everyone have to sign that I agree, because it's your personal information that it will be coming to us. And also the POPI Act will have to also, we have to abide to that act, that we cannot distribute your information to any other institution or to any other person.
Okay,
I wonder if I answer your question, sir.
Okay, thank you for that. I will elaborate on my personal experience with regard to our claim when it's my turn. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My surname is Cox Christopher. I'm with my aunt. Are there any indication when National is going to contact you to start a discussion on when? Because I'm very worried. My aunt is 93 years old, and I don't think that she's got, and I'm sorry, Auntie Joyce, enough more. I mean, more than 100, because she's almost 100.
We don't have the indication, but from the metrics that we received, there are some responses from the Land Commission that they gave to us. So the challenge also when we look at the metrics is you'll find that the claimant is saying something, but the Land Commission is saying something else. So that's where we will, that is why we said we will send the responses to you individually so that you can see what is the department saying about the claim that you did, and then what is it that you know. Others, the responses is they communicated with the claimant directly. So we don't know if that has happened. So as we send out the letters, we will also ask that the claimants, they say to us, okay, thank you very much. They did respond to me. They communicated with me, so that we can hear how far did at least this process help to the district's claimants. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here with my dad, who's a claimant, 81 years old. Firstly, our voices are being heard today. That was never done before, and the provincial government is stepping in. So yes, it's a disappointment for the national department not being here, but I think we must proceed. So we start from here. And just one more thing, can I ask for this meeting to be recorded? Because I don't see the recording on is it live? Okay. Are we going to receive minutes for this? And actually, I'm personally very grateful for what's happening here because you are listening to our concerns. So I think we must proceed from here. And then I think also that questions should be asked afterwards. And we must proceed with the meeting. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere.
Okay. No, the challenge is that we can never give the whole copy unless if everybody that is here is in the matrix and then they agree. That's why we have to do it individual. We are going to continue with the oral submissions, and we are going to allocate 5 minutes each for the submission, and then we will continue with the meeting. So the first one on the list is Ms. Sitka Lombard. Is she here?
Actually, oh.
Ms. Sitka, are you connected visually? Okay. Just indicate if you are connected. If you don't have to switch on the camera, as long as we can hear your voice. Okay. She's not here. And Mr. Ibrahim Muhammad? Ibrahim Muhammad? Miss Mavis Alexander?
Present, I'm son Jeff. I'm representing my mom in this issue. I'm present.
Okay, your name is sir?
Jeff Alexander,
Okay.
son of the claimant. Yeah.
Okay, you can go on, sir.
Yeah, my name is Jeff. I'm representing my mom, who is a claimant. Well, she's been allocated a unit already in June, I think. Yeah, she did all the paperwork. Everything has been settled. Our only problem is now there's no transparency. There's no feedback from the department to tell her what is happening, because she continuously phones me. She's become so depressed now because she's scared she's going to die before she gets the unit. And you know, it's so sad to see her go through this. So my problem is, if we can only get feedback from the department telling us what the holdup is. Last I heard was that the city of Cape Town is now about paving the wrong color paving for the occupancy certificates now. Surely that has got nothing to do with the units, and they can make allowances for people to move in already. Yeah, that's my only problem. And I suppose her problem, her biggest gripe, is when we're going to move, when she's getting the keys. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jeff Alexander.
Thank
and Ms. Sharifa Davids, are you online? Ms. Aisha Sali, or representative, or anyone representing Aisha Sali?
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can.
I am Farid Sali. I'm Farid Sali, her husband. I am the claimant. And I've got my reference number with me. My reference number is R/9/127/476/123236. Now, the problem I have is that I already applied in 1996. And the request for restitution goes further back to 1972. 3 sets of documents were lost by the department, and the last I applied them with a new set of documents, complete set of certified documents, was in 2006. And that also got lost. And when I went to Lands Claim in Long Street, they told me I will be considered to be a new claimant. Now, I have a, a great problem with this, you know. because I have my claim number S27. I've got the KRK number, and yet when I spoke to Nomalisa, she said to me that somebody else has got that claim number. So how can they give two separate people the same claim number? And I have to wait because I'm a new claimant. But I had already submitted an application in 1996. And I have with me 60 documents, including deed of transfer of my grandfather. And the last 40 documents I got from the Department of Human Settlements. They had a complete file on earth number 7496, which will be 54 Stone Street in Cape Town. And it was supplied to me by Mr. Timmy, Kenneth Timmy, at the Department of Human Settlements. So I would like to know what's going to happen now. Will I still be considered to be a new claimant? Or is there going to be an investigation as to why all my documents got lost? And I handed that in to Mr. Nero at Matrix House in Strand Street. That was in September 1996. And subsequently, when I requested on the 20th of 11/2006, after 3 sets of documents were lost, I spoke to a Zenith, and she said Jennifer Williams, who was the legal person at the time, she was in a meeting and will get back to me, which never happened. And I spoke to Mr. Maetsa, I spoke to Mr. Nyati, and they never came back to me. I became persona non grata. Nobody wanted to contact me. Nobody wanted to speak to me. And yet they have all my documents. The last set of documents was handed to Mr. Nero in his office in the presence of Mr. Maetsa. And they told me that they're going to hand these documents to Jennifer Williams, who is the legal person. And nothing happens after that. So what am I to do now? Yeah, and sorry, another thing, there's people staying in District 6 that applied late in 2013, 2016. The original people, houses they built in Uma Close. There's people from Durban staying there. What are they doing there? And we didn't rent. We own the property. I've got the deed of transfer here. But people that rented are in there. Young people. I'm 74 years old. I'm the last of the people of the Sali family that stayed in number 54 Stone Street. The other person, there were 2 of us left. The other one was 103 when she passed. So how long do I have to wait? Do I have to become 103 as well? Please, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sali. Before we continue, I'm seeing Member Maran. I recognize you.
Thanks, Chairperson, and again, good afternoon to everyone present. Look, Chair, I'm not sure whether, look, the other submissions that the department have received, I'm not sure whether some of the claimants are present in this meeting, whether virtual or in the house. Because I thought, Chair, that if some of them were present, because the responses of the department is there, some of the responses is that the claimant must provide a claimant number. Saim Sali now raised the other issue that is captured within those responses, that all R9 claims, all claims that started with R9 are basically after 1998. It's after the closing date of the first round of claims. And then also there is the responses saying that we are interacting directly with the claimants And maybe, Chair, if that's the case, if some of the claimants who submitted written submissions, just to tell us whether there was indeed communication from the department and what those responses are. I clearly understand what you're saying in terms of the POPI Act, that information of a person or a group can't be sent to a third party if there is no basically an application by the department for that information. Maybe also to get maybe some of the, if some of the claimants are present, just to check with them, these responses that the department have sent through to us, whether it is indeed the case, whether they have sent them a letter maybe saying, look, you have to submit them with, provide us with a claimant number. Look, your claim came after 94. What I've listened now, when I've listened to Seham, their claim was in 1996. But the claimants that the claim numbers that start with R9, according to the department, basically came long after 31st of December 1998, just to check whether the information that or the communication to them as claimants, whether it is indeed has been captured in the written submissions. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Member, I do understand. That is why we are trying to do this process to get the answers, because we will have the scenario of the assumptions, and we don't want to assume that that is the case or not. Remember, there is a litigation case also that is in place. All we wanted to do is to be there, to have that communication between the department and the land claimants so that they can know where they are. Like the one of the claimants that have submitted saying that, I don't know what's happening. I was told that I am going to receive a house, but so far I haven't heard anything. So it's one of those things that we are trying to assist in giving the information to the land claimants. And the challenges that are with the process of the 1998 and after 1998, it's something that also, if you maybe you have done the follow-up, you could have seen that, or maybe you did, Amazon also make assumptions that you didn't read it, that the court said that they need to finish the first claimants that they received there before 1998, and there still need to be the amendment of the act that is still at the parliament for the claimants of after 1998 for them to also qualify, but their process is not done yet from the parliament. But the worrying factor from us as a standing committee was those of up to 1998, if they haven't received, like I gave them a short synopsis that the report that we get 2018, it was only 100 and something houses, and then 1006, they were still waiting. That is a concern. Those are the up to 1998. The after 1998 one, we don't have the figures for that. That is the issue, that where we are now, that after 40 years, we still are trying to get those answers. So the interaction was the one that was going to give us the answers to say, where is the department and what are the challenges and what is it that can be done to assist. Let's wait for the for the claimants to do the submission, and we'll have the resolution of how can we go about after the claimants have done the submission. Thank you very much, member. I hope that answers.
Chair, look, I'm fully aware of the Concord judgment, which says that before we can deal with any new claims that came after 1998, we first have to deal with those who have been submitted before the cutoff date of 31st of December 1998. I fully understand that. I'm just saying, and for instance, Saeem Sali is a case, for example. He's saying that their claim was submitted in 1996, long before the cutoff date. But the R9 claimant numbers, according to the department, came after 1998. I'm just saying, Chair, that the communication that went directly to the claimants, they should tell us whether they have received that communication and whether that communication was basically to their satisfaction or not. For instance, if you look, for instance, of the writ of submission number 3,
Honorable member, Can you indulge me that, because we do have the claimants in the House in Parliament, can you indulge me that we give the claimants the opportunity to do the submission, and then after that when on the question and answer session is then that we can talk to that. Can you agree with me that maybe you do it that way?
No problem.
I appreciate that, member. Thank you very much. I see the hand raised of Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed. Are you here with us?
I am with you virtually, ma'am. Sorry, I do not do this thing, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You can.
I am with you virtually.
Thank you. You do have 5 minutes, sir. Continue.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Just to clarify certain matters, right? There are the issue of the 108 claimants, which were successful in being allocated units in the new phase 3 that are ready and has been ready for over 6 months already. There was great fanfare towards the end of June by the current Minister of Agriculture and Land Distribution, stating that claimants will all be contacted at the last week of June. She gave dates. She said that by the 27th of June, all claimants would be starting to move back into those 108 apartments. Now then claimants were contacted. We were invited to go and view the houses and the units. We went there and we were satisfied, and we signed. I signed that I'm satisfied. I'll take whatever's been given to me. And then I was told that I would receive the agreement document between the department and ourselves to finalize the claim, where after the keys would be handed to us and we could move in. Now that was end of June, and then there was a delay announcement. And since that visit to the houses at the end of June, there has been absolutely zilch, no communication whatsoever from the department. The department hasn't said anything to the claimants, either individually or collectively. What has happened is there has been certain news items, because journalists, I think, were acting in the interests of the consumers who are supposed to go back, approached the department, and the department just said that there were certain snags and certain matters that had to be attended to, and there's been a slight delay. Now it's 6 months. We are now at the end of November. I personally call the department at least once a week or once every 10 days, ever since June. And I haven't once received an answer to say, yes, sir, you are going to be moving then, and then. The reasons that they are citing is that the City Council, the Cape Town City Council, who is supposed to issue occupation certificates before anybody can move into a house in the city, or in a new house in the city, hasn't issued the occupation certificates. There was a snag list because of the heavy winter rains. There were certain damages and so on, and they had to fix up all of this, and then the occupation certificates would be issued and we would move in. Now that was 6 months ago. Now, no one can tell anyone with a bit of a brain that it takes 6 months to fix up a snag list and to get people moving into the homes. We have already suffered. We were kicked out of our homes in 1972. I was born and bred in District 6. We suffered such humiliation and pain and discomfort during that period. And we are made to suffer again. We are made to look like fools. There's this 100-year-old lady, I don't know her personally, but she has been so excited. Are they waiting for her to die? Are they waiting for everybody else to die? Why is there no sense of urgency on the part of the department? I find that totally unacceptable. And the fact that we are being treated with absolutely no respect and with no dignity and no integrity, because we are being treated as if you're getting the house free, I suppose, or what the hell are you worried about? You'll get it when you get it. That seems to be the approach, because there's been no communication from day one right up to now. I'm talking end of June. I'm not even going to talk about what transpired earlier in the last 26 years. But ma'am, we've waited 26 years and we are still waiting, and nobody is telling us the real reasons why. Okay, no occupation certificates have been issued by the City Council. Why not? Why can't you get them fixed? Why can't you get a whole lot of people in there urgently, do whatever needs to be done, and allocate the houses to the people? 6 months, ma'am, and nothing. I'm sorry, I think I've taken up all my time, but I think it was necessary to say what I said. I could say so much more, and if you have any questions for me, I shall answer them with pleasure, but let's go on to the next claimant. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. We really appreciate your submission. I'm going to move forward. I saw is Shamsonisa Davids.
Hi, good day, Chair. Yes, I'm Shamsonisa Davids. I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, Jamila Davids, 79 years old. I actually listened to the concern that you raised about the 1998, when the people, about the claims and when it closed. Because she actually did hers in July 2014. She received a letter with a reference number indicating with regards to when the new claims, they will only liaise with them afterwards, as they are only looking at the 1998 claims. However, ever since 2014, we have not received any communication. So my concern is when they are dealing with this people now of 1998, so then probably the next phase will then be the late claims, which was done afterwards. But then if these people are waiting so many years, my mother's now 79. I was born in District 6, and I'm now 42. And I don't know how long is she going to wait now for her house, because I mean, she's 80. Will she even then still be alive when she gets her house? I don't know, because clearly the letter said, which we received in 2017, it clearly stated that the Constitutional Court ordered that the claims that were lodged between the 1st of July and 2014 and July 2016, a validity lodged, but it's integrated that the Commission from processing those claims until the Commission has finalized the claims lodged by 31st of December 1998. So I really don't know. I just wanted to know, get clarity. So going forward, or is she still going to get the house? How long is she going to be waiting? What is the way forward? Because like I said, ever since 2014, we've never heard anything yet. This is the only letter that we received to acknowledge that the claim was lodged. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Davids. I'm going to continue to Mr. Arthur Martin.
Excuse me, is it Ahmad or Agamat? It's ACHMAT.
It's written on my list, Arthur. I don't know if there is a typing error.
ACH,
ACH.
MAT, surname CUPIDO.
Okay. Let me check if there is another Martin on my list. I think that's the only Martin that I do have. That means it's you. Your surname is Martin. Okay, no. Okay, is there any Arthur Martin on the online? Okay, we are going to move forward. Ms. Buffkins, Fozia, are you in here or online? Mr. Fidel Yakut, online or in here? Melvin September, okay. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm referring to claim S181. And I'm terribly surprised to hear that people are still referring to 98 claims, because I'm talking about a claim that was processed, started in 1996. And the registered date of the claim is the 29th of the 7th, 1998. No news from anybody. And I want to put it to you, Chairperson, that at the time of this claim, which is on behalf of my mother, now my late mother, we were 8 children. We're now 3. And I was told in Monique's house, you know, you're going to get lost if you know how many meetings you attended. So you don't know who you deal with. I mean, over 20 years of meetings. It's unreal. You can buy half of District 6 for the time you spent on meetings. Chairperson, my mom passed away, and I was told, because she passed on, I am now a new claimant. Therefore, I got absolutely no news from them. And the claim, the power of attorney which was signed was done on the 10th of December, 1998. Today, absolutely no news. I've attended every single meeting. The only thing I enjoyed about the meeting was the food. And I'm very serious, because the submissions we're having here today, we have at every single meeting. Somebody must pick up that the claims of 1998 is not completed. Somebody must know that. They already gone to the next phase. We still have people that didn't get houses. I think, with all respect, Chairperson, I want to go back to the opening of the meeting where the claimant next to me were talking about the link between provincial and the national. I think it's an expectation from our side as claimants that we expect you people to fight for us. And the feeling is very clear that it's not happening. Because we go backwards and forwards, You must get your permission. The fact is, if there's a problem with claims, I believe this standing committee should handle it. I mean, if somebody is still waiting for a claim of 1998, they don't have to come to me and say, Mr. September, we're going to fight for you. They must do it. We've got people waiting that, you know, I've heard earlier on about people that's not even with us anymore. And then we've got people with almost 100 years old. Bless their souls, because, you know, let's hope they're still there when they get their houses. But it's sick that we must come here and spend our time with, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, every meeting you're going to get people standing up and say, this is happening, that is happening, right through. But nothing is happening from the committee side. And the feedback we get is, we're fighting with national. And I'm saying it's rather that we go the way that nobody wants us to do, is protest and go straight to national, or we expect the committee to work for us. We've got very, very equipped people on this committee from what I've heard and seen. I mean, we even know the legal representative that we've got. I mean, surely there must be a way out. There must be a way out. I'm the youngest in this family of 8. And there's only 3 left of us now. But I mean, I'm 65 today. And this claim went in 21 years ago. I think seriously they believe, from my side, it is rather lackadaisiness that just sparks off when it's time for election and then it dies down again. And that's my feeling, that we're sitting here wasting our time, putting in submissions, and I mean, you know, it's an effort. You know, the old government has kicked us out of District 6. They didn't throw us in Woodstock that we can walk to these meetings. I think the nearest people that was kicked out of District 6 is Hanover Park. The others is in Mitchell's Plain, and it's an it's an effort. It's an effort to get here. It's not easy, you know, it's not easy, and you know this is an easy meeting. We walked in and there was no problems, but you go to the meetings we have at the City Hall, we go to the meetings wherever we go, we queue, and it's an effort. It's a real effort, and not for a year, for 20 years. So I just feel that there's something that this committee is not doing. If you're having complaints of 98 claimants that's not being honored yet, then there's something definitely not right. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. September. And I hear it's your birthday today.
Sorry,
Is that your birthday today?
It is my birthday today.
Okay. No, happy birthday. Happy birthday, sir. For spending time with us on your birthday. We really appreciate you, sir. Yeah, but we really appreciate and really thank God for keeping you to so far. I'm going to continue with Mr. Abodin Sunday.
Okay. Hi. Oh, yes. I'm speaking on behalf of my mom. She's here today. She will be 94 years old. And she also put in a claim in 1998. And she asked me every day, she asked me, when is she going back? Because she don't know when it's going to be her last. And like the gentleman said, going to each meeting, yes, we've been there, but nothing gets done. And I'm the youngest of 8 children, and we were also kicked out in the earlier government, and we went to go live on a yard, in somebody's yard. And my father built a home for us because my mother was only there to bear the children. She couldn't work at the time. So yeah, this is my mother, Joyce Eloise Titus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Ms. Joyce Louise Titus, for being with us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to ask Ms. Julika Ismail. Over to you.
Good afternoon. I'm Abida Ismail, representing myself. Also, I've got all the relevant questions that the previous asked. And we're also just waiting when. If I look at the 98, I don't know myself at the age of 65, when is it going to be our turn? Thanks. I hope we can do something about it. Looking at the people of 1998, seeing a mother, grandmother sitting here, grew up, born in front of them, played in front of them. They groomed us. They raised us as family, friends, neighbors, sisters and brothers as families. And yet you cannot be united as families again. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your submission. Mr. Yusuf Khan.
My dad asked if I can talk on behalf of him.
Yes.
So yes, my dad's name is Yusuf Khan, reference number K49, and the reason for us being here is a dispute of what has been offered to us. So the letter that I have here was also addressed to or communicated to the Minister Toko Dedisa. So I'm going to read the letter as if she was here because I thought she was going to be here and I was hoping that she was going to be here. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to read a few pages. Yeah, it's fine, I'll sit. I'm just going to time myself. So the letter is addressed and I'm going to read it. Honorable Minister Toko Desisa, I, Muhammad Sadiq Khan, is writing this letter with a heavy and sad heart and soul. My dad, Yusuf Khan, who is one of the first validated District 6 claimants, were offered a house in phase 1. This is disappointment 1. But had to refuse because it required him to pay 250,000 Rand as a condition. Back then, the value of 250,000 was probably more than R1 million. He refused because he could not afford it. This is a fact and not hearsay. It was proven that in the proceeds in phase 1 were not fair, and there were favoritism was a major factor in terms of who could afford it. Phase 2, disappointment. In phase 2, my dad received another offer from Ms. Nomalisa Dondolo, but this time on the second floor. He disputed it because his medical record states and recommends that he must get a single dwelling. My dad had surgery on his knees. In his younger days, my dad played Western Province rugby as well as being a substitute for the South African 1972 rugby finals. He represented the province and our country, and his legend are honored by treating him less than full. My dad complained to the then acting commissioner, Mr. David Smith. Mr. Smith then called a meeting. Ms. Nomalisa Dondola was there. The late Mr. Ahmed Williams was also present. The matter was discussed and the matter was supposedly resolved by issuing my dad a letter. Ms. Nomalisa Dondola also threatened my dad that because he disputed the offer, she personally is going to put him last in the queue of getting a dwelling. This is a fact and not hearsay. It was proven that the proceeds in phase 2 were not fair, and favoritism was a major factor also. I personally know of a family that was evicted after living in the house for months, if not years, because they occupied it wrongfully in phase 2. There were still many houses vacant after my dad disputed this offer. They could have easily given him a house, but they deliberately ignored his plea. Disappointment, phase 3. 7 years have passed, and it must be mentioned that though my dad applied also to be considered for the special needs criteria, my dad was also one of the first in line. However, being put last became a reality, and he received a flat on the highest and furthest point of the complex. We believe that the threat became a reality of Ms. Nomalizo. How is my dad supposed to climb a mountain road? My dad communicated this when he was interviewed by the adjudication committee, by the commissioner's office, and explained to them he should have automatically been selected as number 1 to be restituted because of what happened to him in phase 2 and phase 1. We have been in communication numerous times, reminding the Land Claims Commission of my dad's situation, but the communication is very bad. They never come back. They have simply ignored our plea. My dad is disappointed, down, and very sad, and even appeared on TV, live on TV. And they just simply ignore our plea. Once again, it seems that the proceeds in phase 3 is not fair. And the feeling is that favoritism is a major factor. We suspect something is fishy and an investigation needs to be conducted. We have good reason to suspect this because my dad is living proof that the procedure was utmost unfair. I personally know of a family that is the same thing as phase 2. So then I further go saying, if you can recall, Honorable Minister Didiza, the Group Areas Act forcibly removed residents of District 6. My dad legally bought his house, and some years later, the Group Areas Act came back to say that they can no longer be owners and must pay rent. That time, the people didn't have a choice. So my dad bought the house, and they said, you can no longer own the house. So he couldn't say, no, I want to keep the house. He didn't have a choice. There was never a distinction made that homeowners and tenants will receive different offers in terms of dwellings and receive special treatment. You yourself, Minister, mentioned live on ENCA that when people with special needs and the old will have an option to getting the lower level dwellings. Once again, my dad's dignity is not restored. We feel that he has been discriminated against unjustly and unfairly. We request a formal written report, especially about the issue of Ms. Nomalisa Dondola's actions, and that this matter be reversed and resolved in a just and fair manner. They had 7 years to correct it, but chose to ignore my dad's plea. We feel and believe that this is a deliberate act of pure prejudice and discrimination. Then I wanted to say, on the day when we visited the complex that my dad was offered, we could see that the younger people was given the lower dwellings, and the old people and the sick, Mr. Leicha, that is also, she had operations, numerous operations. She couldn't even go view a second floor dwelling. She cried upwards. She wasn't in there. And all the younger people were showed and given the dwellings, the single dwellings. But the older people with problems that the minister promised he's going to take care of got flats. But they put my dad in number 104, which is the highest point. But if there's no one at home and there's an emergency, how is he going to get down or up? And I totally don't agree with Dr. Alexander. Is a very good person. He listens to you, but I don't agree to his reason where he said that according to my dad's claim that he's a tenant. What else can he be? Because his own ownership was taken forcibly away from him. So, but then he sent us documents via email that they have got on record where my dad states to them, and I'll read for you. They've got it on record since 1996. I was born at 12 Albert Street, then moved to 27 Albert Street. From there, we moved to 42 Leamington Terrace, Upper Constitution Street, where I bought the house. After 2 years of staying there, the group took over from Foley Estate, from whom we bought the house. The then government who was ruling was the Nats, and at the time, and declared the area white area. The group reclaimed the house and paid our deposit back. He states it to them, they've got it on record there. He was the owner, and then he was forcibly removed from that ownership. So how can he say that my dad never said that he was the owner? They've got it on record. And in the interview of the special needs, or even if I don't know if it was a special needs, my dad told them, because of what happened to him in phase 1 and phase 2, he automatically had to get house number 1 in phase 3. Because of the threat of Ms. Nomalisa Dondola, that became a reality, and they put them right at the top. And this time, we're not going to sit idle, Chair. We're going to fight this matter, and this must be recorded and shared with him. Not even up until today, they didn't give any sorries or nothing. Their communication is of the worst. They treat people with no empathy. And because of what we went through, and when we communicate to them, we get excited, yes, because now you guys we tell you, but you just don't hear us. So thank you, Chair, for giving us the opportunity. It's very disappointing that they are not here, but you at least made this a first step towards resolving this matter. And then I also want to read 1 or 2 more pages. Mr. Meyer was my dad, the late Mr. Meyer was also a claimant, and he was my dad's friend, and were very close. They went to school together in Moravian Zinzendorf. My dad cannot say much about him, but from the age of 19, Mr. Meyer worked on sea for Safmarine. They did not see each other. They met each other once again, again after the District Working Committee, became close friends again. Thereafter, often they would go to meetings together for the sake of the claimants. They did not meet each other for social gatherings, but would travel by train or bus, maybe visited Longstreet at times to inquire about things regarding the claimants. And especially they went regularly to go meet Ms. Nomalisa Dondola. She did not like my dad and Mr. Meyer, and she would even dodge them. They would then make excuses that she is either on study leave or sick leave or other reasons, but my dad, them knew she was there. One day, Mr. Sahita Jam, the late Mr. Sahita Jam, sent one of the committee members, Ms. Arifa, to accompany a lady claimant from Claremont to the Longstreet offices to represent her. My dad and Mr. Meyer were also there to get Ms. Arifa at the Longstreet offices and were going home afterwards. When my dad them arrived, they told my dad them, again, Ms. Nomalisa Dondola is not there, she's on study leave. My dad then went to sit on the couch in the building, reading the newspaper. But at the same time, Ms. Sarifa came out laughing. Mr. Meyer then asked her why she's laughing. And Ms. Sarifa told them that Ms. Nomalisa Dandola just said to her, the two nuisance guys is again outside looking for her. This is the treatment that they are receiving. And then a letter that was given to what happened to my dad in phase 1 and phase 2. This is a letter that we wrote to the acting commissioner at the time, David Smith. And we're telling them the whole story and then of Ms. Nomalisa, and that is where Mr. late Ahmad Williams met. And they actually issued my dad with this letter confirming his problems. And we thought it was going to be resolved, but it was never resolved. So instead of giving my dad house number 1 in phase 3, the threats became a reality and it put him right lost. And this time, Chair, we're not going to sit idle. We're going to fight this. And this must be communicated to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. I am going to move to Mr. Yanap Poromano. Are you online, Mr. Yanap Poromano? Janap? Mr. Janap? Okay, Mr. Christopher Cox? Okay, he's in house. Over to you, sir.
Like I said, I'm just here with my aunt, Auntie Joyce, and I think my cousin. She just said everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Abida Ismail. Are you online?
Yeah,
Okay, go on, Mama.
I'm representing myself.
Oh, you are representing yourself now?
Yes.
Okay, Mom.
I've just listened to all my colleagues, mothers and sisters here once again, looking back at 98 and looking back in when are we going to be served. It's a very, very sad situation. How our parents and grandparents has been treated by this committee. I hope they'll satisfy them in a very, very short time. Thank you.
Just to get the clarity, Mama, you mentioned that the committee mistreated you. You mean this committee?
The committee that's representing this situation. Who are the committee representing this?
Okay. I understand. Is the department that is handling that?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I was going to talk to my committee that things cannot be done that way. Let's continue to Miss Kathleen Dorothy Vigeland. Am I pronouncing? Vigeland. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. You can go on.
Yeah, I represent my brothers and sisters, the Gabriel's family. We also did a claim earlier on in 1996. And we were actually relegated to 1998 because I don't know why they actually relegated us to 1998, whereas we actually started our claim in 1996. So that means to say we're back in, like lost in the queue of 1995, in 1996. Since then, we have had no correspondence. I've actually gone to Long Street many a times with my brother. We weren't able to see the people. And during lockdown or even after that, I work in town and many a times I used to go in there. They say, no, the people are working from home. They were given, I gave them my name and contact details for them to contact me. No, nobody returned my calls. I sat there one day for 2 or 3 hours waiting for the person to help me. When they came out, they said, no, they don't deal with the District 6 claimants. It's somebody else that needs to deal with it. And since then, I mean, I just want to give up hope. But why should we? Why should we give up hope? The government before actually mistreated us. They threw us out of our homes instead of repairing those homes for us, so that we can have also decent and respectful way of living, to be humane. Now, I mean, and since then we haven't heard from them. My brother also noticed that at one of the meetings, he brought it to their attention that they've even got the wrong address on record. And when I'm trying to rectify that, I don't get anywhere. We live in Warm Estate, and they're sending the correspondence to Surrey Estate. There's another matter that I also want to bring to attention. I read the newspaper and I see that why are they actually employing or giving the builders outside of Cape Town area, you know, the opportunity to build the houses? Why not keep it here locally in Cape Town so that they can actually employ the unemployable? That's one of my questions as well. And there's another matter is also read that the delay in getting the government or getting us the houses that we need is that they need to get permission from, I couldn't understand it, from CPUT, the Cape Town University of Technology. I just, why must they? Because they sold the land to them already. I need to get clarity on that, please.
Thank you very much. We are going to move over to Ms. Hajera Yon. You can switch off the mic for me. Thank you. Hajera, are you with us? Okay. Ms. Soweida Levi. Mr. Ibrahim Arense. Mr. Oscar Arense. Yeah. And Siham Sally Abrahams, I see your hand. Siham Sally Abrahams. I think honorable members in the house, is there anyone that needed opportunity and I didn't recognize?
Thank you, Chair. Member Brankes here. My hand is up for 2 hours already.
I can't hear you, member.
It's Member Brankes here, Chair. My hand is up for the last time. Can I proceed?
Yeah, I was still giving the claimants. Are you one of the claimants?
I'm not a claimant, but I want to represent a claimant, Chair, which is in order.
Okay, go on, member.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, a lady by the name of Mrs. Asma Davids. She's got a reference number of D529. Her late husband, Dow Davids, lodged a complaint on the 23rd of October, 1998. She submitted all paperwork, including supporting documents, such as affidavits from her brother-in-law, that the claim of the property reference D529 be transferred to her. According to the communication portfolio of evidence, that the claim is still on the waiting list for a phase 3 house in District 6. She wants to know, when can she move into her house? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I recognize also the hand of Nabewa.
Nabawiya Crichton.
Nabewa, okay. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Chair. My mother's name is Hajira Crichton and my father is Muhammad Qasim Crichton. We lived in De Villiers Street in Cape Town, diagonally across from Trafalgar Junior School. I was 7 years old when we were evicted, and since 1998, my mother and father went through the claiming process. Between 1998 and 2014, she was issued with some documentation. Then there was a report that there was a fire and some additional documentation got destroyed, and she had to apply again. I'm picking this up because my mother has passed away 2 years ago, and my father has also passed away a year ago. So I'm representing this claim. To date, the only people or the only thing that I've got to hold on to now is what was given by Shahida Jam, the late Shahida Jam and his wife, and that is a claim number for 2014. Where I am now is I want to know whether or not, even after so many years, do we have a legitimate claim? Are we on the list, and when will it happen?
Okay, thank you very much. I see a hand. I don't know if I recognized you before, but the name of
Hajira Crichton is my mother.
Okay, Sally Abrahams. Okay, great. You can go on. You can go on, ma'am.
Oh, apologies. Okay, yes. So for me, the important thing now is, for some reason, even though my mother has applied in 1998, between 1998 and now, we are only on the list for 2014. Where and how and who will assist me with knowing that we are legitimate claimants? And when will this happen?
Okay, is that all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me recognize the hand of Siham Sally Abrahams.
Hello, can you hear me? Right, she spoke on behalf of me, and I just wanted to rectify the gentleman that responded after my first submission, said that the claim number I have is only for persons who applied after 98. He did not take recognition of the fact that what I previously said, that I applied in 1996, right, at Matrix House. And I supplied them with all the documents that was required in 1996. Copy of the deed of transfer, expropriation certificate, which says that the property was expropriated in 1972, right? Is on the expropriation certificate. And I handed all this into Mr. Nero in Matrix House on the 10th of the 9th, 1996, in the presence of Mr. Kamadin and my wife. And subsequently, I had to hand in another set of documents because the first set of documents were lost. The second set of documents was lost as well. And then in 2006, I handed him a third set of documents. And after that, I spoke to Mr. Nero, who was supposed to come back to me. When I found him, he said, Mr. Maetsa answered the call and said, Mr. Nero is not in. Then I found again, I spoke to Feroza, who said, neither Mr. Maetsa nor Mr. Nero are contactable. Eventually, when I spoke to, just hold it. Now, I spoke to Feroza again. She said that Ms. Jennifer Williams was going to contact me, and she never contacted me. And that was the last I heard of them. No one ever contacted me at all. And that is the time that I got my number S27, and I've got my KRK number as well. KRK 6/2/3/A/3/2700/113/52. And that was S27. But what I find very strange was, after having lost 3 sets of documents, when I went to see Nomalisa in Long Street, she said to me, I'm not on the system. And then I went to her again a couple of months after that, and she said she took my wife and myself into a little office, and she showed me a file of a Mr. Ihsan Sali. There was never Ihsan Sali in the family. It was a different address. That file only had 1 document in that file, and there was no contact number for that guy. He had the claim number S27. And when I asked her about that, she said to me, there's nothing she can do about it. And that was the end of the story. Where am I supposed to go now? I was advised, you know, to go to Carte Blanche and open up this whole story. I asked them, well, what should be done? Oh.
Thank you very much, Say.
Okay.
I want to
Thank
allow
you.
the house over to you, Say.
Thank you, Mrs. Chair. Appreciate for the opportunity. I just want to make a submission on behalf of my mother. She passed on like 3 months back at the age of 89. And what I've got, I've tried to piece some papers together to see what is this District 6 thing all about. Because she was all the time making mentioning of going back to District 6. The only thing I've got hold of was some little scrap papers from the beneficiary trust, where they've requested from her an ID marriage certificate, proof of address, death certificates, and a name Insaf, a name Adla White, and only piece of papers, nothing else. This woman, with a hope of on the age of 89, actually she got Alzheimer, couldn't think lekker anymore, but always talking about District 6 and going back. Now, me that was never interested in this hocus pocus thing that is going on, because why? For me, it's a circus. I've always related to this thing as a circus, because she made in a submission in 1998, she walked numerously to Whale Street continuously and telling myself, it's close, it's going to come, don't worry. Nothing happened. I'm hearing people are referring to reference numbers and to beneficiaries that I don't know. From my side, there's nothing. It's only piece of papers that is lying here. And what I'm holding on, it is the tenant's rent card of 1970 to 71. That is all. That is all evidence I have still of District 6. And then I'm sitting with the neighbors that also had to do, Mrs. Daniels, that also had to do affidavit referring that she stayed there. I think that these elderly people, you don't have any respect to them. None of you, whether it is national are referring the problem to provincial are referring the problem. You're taking these elderly people for a fool. And that is why I'm so keen of making the submission, because it's very fresh with me that she just passed on 3 months back, but she would have been here because she was walking. She stayed in Manenberg. After that, she moved to my sister in Pau. She moved to but always coming back with a hope, which you gave her, whether it is provincial, whether it is national, you that are in governance, you gave her that hope. I think it's time whereas you have to speak straight to the point with the people, tell them who is beneficiaries, because I know that very little of them know who is beneficiaries. There was papers that got lost in the interim. Yes, then we are governed by the Poppy Act, a new thing that's coming up. But allocate a place where people can get this information. We are living in the 20th century, Madam Speaker. There is emails, you've got everybody's emails there. But get the point of departure whereas we can share the relevant information with everybody. I didn't get, you know where I got this information from? I was walking in Adelaide Street and somebody said, hey, your mother's got a claim, come. Make an email. What? Giving me hope? Madam, not me. My mother died at 89 with the hope of the assistance from governance. And you are the governance. Madam Speaker, from my side, from my siblings, they would like me to persuade this matter, and I will do it to the best out of last respect to my mother. But what I would like to know, I would like to get the necessary information from the points of departure where I can go, where I can seek the knowledge. Is he registered on this beneficiary list? Is there a claimant number? Whatever it is, but it's senseless just to stay in the dark. I thank you ever so much. Baie terima kasih.
Thank you, Sita. Let me start with say at the front, and then you'll come after him.
Okay, I'm Wasfi Domingo. I was born in District 6 in 1956. I'm representing the claim, which is a family claim. Although the claim was registered in my mother's name, and the claim reference is D491. And I want to state it specifically, it's a family claim. Now, my mother and my father was born in 1926. They would have been 95 now. And I was born in that very same house, 20 Burtington Road, because the claim was referenced under that specific property. And that property, but this claimant was read out that when the Group Areas Act was implemented, they took over our property. I was a very youngster at the time, so I had to go and pay rent at Customs House. But it was our property. We owned the property at that address, 20 Burtington Road. When I did my research, I discovered that that entire block or that property was under a 100-year lease contract, because the apartheid government then, during the 50s, they had a very clear vision and plan of how they're going to implement the Group Areas Act that came back in the 1960s. So it was not, the Group Areas Act didn't pop up in the 1960s. It was well planned years ahead. And that is the reason why, even if you were in a position financially or capable of purchasing a property, you were not allowed to own it. And that is why they introduced what we call the 100-year lease contract. Now, and that contract, they dishonor that contract, they invalidate that contract, they forcefully remove us from District 6, like another gentleman said, into the Cape Flats. And on the Cape Flats, there was no infrastructure. There was no shops. We all basically had to travel, like the man said, from Hanover Park, Menenberg, Belhar, and Mitchell's Plain to the city, what we call today the CBD. Now imagine there was no infrastructure. That was part of the trauma and the suffering that not only my parents had to suffer, but we as children. And that basically moved on to the next generation because they cripple basically that current generation as well as the future generation. So going back to District 6, they might think in their mind that is some sort of a compensation. They could really not compensate us because they've destroyed more than one generation. And we are missing the point here because I wrote letters to the Human Settlements Local, National, to Agriculture, Land Reform. My mother, in 2007, she was listed and it was published. She was number 5 on the list. She qualified to return in 2007 in phase 2 of District 6. It was made public knowledge. I sent them the records of that publication. What happened? She never received the keys. But what happened in phase 2? And I think that is where this committee must go and investigate, not only phase 2, phase 1 also. There was I won't say corruption, but if you do a door-to-door check, then you will discover, you will find people there, living there, that was not part of District 6 in phase 1 and in phase 2. Now in phase 3, there's this new gossip going on. I don't know why they're changing the rules of the game. Because the act, although this new Restitution Act was formulated, maybe with good intention, but it was not properly implemented. Absolutely not. Because the only door of entry was via the trust, the District 6 Trust. That was an NGO, because we never had direct contact with local government. That was the vehicle to take us to local government or to national government. But what happened in between? And it is so absurd. After 27 years to here, there is still not proper communication between local government and national government. How absurd is that? It's sickening. And who is suffering in the process? The beneficiaries, the children, the grandchildren. So I think this committee, if they really want to take on the responsibility or this task, then they must take it very, very seriously. And you must not accept that that's why I'm coming back to my first point. My mother submitted this claim for the family, for herself, and for the children. Remember, she has passed on now, and so many other beneficiaries has passed on. Now, what are they doing? They just say, look here. They send me a letter. That doctor, Alexander, I've got all the correspondence on email. It's a pity I couldn't put on my laptop now. He said, he sent a sympathy letter with my mother's passing on. But that does not resolve the problem. We as the children, I attended all the meetings with my mother, all of it. I was the one that filled in the form, the register, etc. Take the notes, explain to her. She's no longer there. I continue this journey. He just sent me a letter to say sympathy about the mother's passing, etc. I'm the executor. I'm the power of attorney of this claim, registered in the Master's Court, at the Master's Office. So what they say, we must now wait for, I don't know for when, And our claim was part of the 1994, 1998. He basically qualifies that. He said, yes, the mother's on record. But because my mother is no longer there, it means we as the children are the beneficiaries. But they are so conniving. I will use the word conniving, and they think we're stupid. We're not stupid. Because my mother's not there. But what about the children? That was a family claim. But because, and yet on that very first forms, way back, you must fill in your name, your surname, and your dependents. Our names are on there. So how can they now say, but your mother is no longer there? The guy phoned me from National, because I copy all of them in, the National Minister, the Director General, the Ombudsman, everybody. Then he said, yes, you receive a call from local office here, because your mother has passed on. Now you can't get a house here in this 108 houses. And we are homeless now, as I speak. I gave them the proof, everything. And I explained to them, look here, I'm not a legal person, but you need to look at the act. They come up with this new rules. This guy, he read it here, he said, they talk about preference to disabled people. Where do they come on with that? That's something new they brought in. What did they say in phase one? In phase one? In phase one, they said, no, we're first going to allocate houses to the people that's maybe the elderly, from 100, between 100 and 90. In phase two, they come up, no, between 90 and 80. My mother would have been here now, 95. On phase two, she was around about 80. They said, okay, you qualified for a house. You're number 5 on the list, but we never got a house. Never. And she was still alive at the time. So a lot needs to be done. But we must stop, allow ourselves to be bullied by the national government and the national authority. And I think the people that must serve on this committee must be people that came out of District 6, because you will be able to have that feeling. You will be able to relate to the situation. It was much more than relocating the people from District 6 to the Cape Flag. It was much more than that. We were destroyed financially, emotionally. We had to travel from far to get to school here in town, to come to our workplace in town. That was a financial constraint. We were taken apart from, I think that one of the other representatives mentioned it here, our families were separated. This was a close-knitted community. Everything was in walking distance. There was no need for a car. You can walk to the shop, you can walk to your workplace, you can walk to school, you can walk to church. There was no need for a car. When they throw us out in the Cape Flats, it was a struggle all over again. And it is an experience that will never leave your mind and your heart, even if they give us a house. Now, how can you forgive if you don't even start the process of healing? Now, this new government took over that responsibility. Doesn't matter who they are. They took it over. What did they do? After 27 years, they're still misleading us. They're still putting us. They think we're stupid. We're not stupid. We've come a long way. We've recovered on our own. We've never, ever been compensated for the suffering and the trauma that we have experienced financially, emotionally, educationally, you name it. So I hope this committee will have the balls, and not only the balls, but the knowledge and the know-how how to make this thing right. And I don't think that man, he mentioned the doctor's name, I don't think he's capable. He is not capable because, number one, I don't think he's from District 6, and I don't think he understands what it was to be removed and to be separated from everything. Because we had our sports, we had our schools, we had our churches, we had our family. Everything was in walking distance. it was a struggle. I'm telling you, unless you have somebody that could share that experience, they will be able to take a decision, a responsible decision, not a decision what they think in their rightful mind, what they can read between the lines. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I take you again, sir, let me go online. I see Tanya Davids. That will be, after Tanya Davids say it will be the last submission that we receive for the day. Tanya Davids.
Good day, ma'am, and good day to all the people, the members, the visitors in Parliament today. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's not going to be a long discussion. I am limited because I do need to run to another meeting, but I am speaking on behalf of my mother, claimant Gloria Davids, who took over her late mother's claim, Estelle Williams, claim number L74. So this claim, as I understand it from my mother, was lodged in 1996. So we've made an email submission to this committee, and the email submission was along the lines of the feedback and the communication and the transparency around this entire claims process is left wanting. Now, I've been with my mother to various meetings. I've been with my mother to the office in Strand Street. I've been with my mother to the office in Long Street. First of all, people stand in queues endlessly, waiting for some sort of information. I feel from my mother's experience and my experience, it's not appropriate for people to be standing in queues, hanging on for little bits and pieces of information. This process is not transparent. These are aged people. The whole claims process has never, ever, ever been made transparent from start to end. None of us know where we stand in this claims process and in where on this list of restitution we stand. So I would like to ask this committee, on behalf of all these people that are claiming, can that please, even if you have to do a schematic, make it apparent so that we know what the city's part is, what the province's part is, and what national government's part is. We don't know. Nobody knows. We get drips and drabs and bits and pieces of information, and we never ever see the full picture or get the full story. I mean, I think a country is measured on how it treats people, and a government particularly, how it treats people that, number one, can't speak for themselves, and how it treats its elderly. Now, for a claim to run for 26 years, and every bit of communication that you receive is either a meeting invitation or you initiating it as an old person to try and find out what is going on. I don't think that that is fair. If it's going to take 26 years, you know what? At least communicate and say, this is where we are in the process. I don't see why people have to be standing in queues to try and find out what is going on. That is not fair. It cannot go on like that. This cannot be the way we treat our aged. Secondly, I mean, the thing is, you're hearing of people passing away. Does it have to be such a long and drawn-out process? As a business runs, you are given a task, you are measured according to the way you perform your task. Who is holding government accountable if it is government that is responsible? Who is holding the province accountable if it is province that is responsible? If it is the city of Cape Town, who is holding the city of Cape Town accountable? Surely there must be a measurement for performance versus non-performance and reward for bad or good behavior either way. It can't go on like this. So as a standing committee, please, can that be addressed? Because it's pointless. We all sit and we pat ourselves on the back. Oh, it's a job well done. Phase 1 had 100 houses. Phase 2 had 139 houses. 108 houses took how many years to deliver? 139 years, another what? 10 years to deliver. And you've said at the beginning of this meeting, you had 2,760 claims and 1,201 people want homes. So in 26 years, we've delivered what? 200 plus, almost 300 homes out of 1,200 possible claimants. Is that a good story to tell, ma'am? It cannot be. 26 years, it took you to build 200 plus houses. And anybody sitting in this committee, you tell me, you don't need to answer me, but you just tell me, does that deserve a pat on the back? A lot of the people sitting in those offices were young people I'm talking about Long Street, when they started, were young people. They're probably going to retire there, and these houses will still not have been delivered. So as a government, as a province, as a city, it is not a good story to tell. It's an indictment on what all I can say is bad service delivery. I work in the financial services industry. If I don't deliver, my performance is not good. Where's the scorecard for government? Who is holding government accountable? Who is holding whoever's accountable? So please can I ask that as a standing committee that be addressed, that be taken to task and made priority as well, the transparency issue around this. Because I'm sure if people had a little bit more information, you wouldn't have these irate comebacks to you all the time. And it could very easily be addressed. Just keep people informed of where exactly they are in the process. I mean, similarly, you know, if a claimant has passed away, inform us exactly where you stand in the process. If somebody says to you, my parents have passed away, be clear on the situation. Say, it's either your claim gets treated as a new claim, or you know what, you guys are succeeding on your parents' claim. We don't even know that at this point. And that is all information that I'm just picking up bits and pieces coming from this. But thank you for your time, ma'am. I really appreciate it. And I feel that this committee has its job cut out for it. And I think that, you know what, I might sound a bit emotional when I speak about this, and I am, because my mother is in her mid-70s. My grandmother was 79 when she passed away. Her claim had already been running for goodness knows how long. I would like to see my mother settled back in the place where she grew up. I think all of us want to see our parents there, but what we don't want to see is the way our parents are shunted and shoved from pillar to post and just not getting to the bottom of the story and not seeing the delivery. We need to pull together, and I think the community from District 6 will stand together. They are standing together, but we need to see the same type of cohesiveness from national, provincial, and the city to make things happen. So if you as a standing committee can please, please, please just pull rank here and pull this whole thing together. I find it deplorable, lastly, that the department deemed it unnecessary for them to come and account to all of these people here because they feel that they are accountable to national. Now, if it means that national has to sit in the house and you have to summon the minister to come here and answer for it, then I think it is time that it starts happening, because that is where the urgency gets driven from. Not from the bottom down and the man on the street and the person, the admin person doing the work, gets driven from the top. So please, 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 I'm begging you, I'm imploring you, before we lose any more of our old people, can this please be given the urgency that it deserves? Thank you very much for your time. I would appreciate some feedback on claim number L74, because to date, in the last however many years, we waited for what, 20, 30 years now? If my mother doesn't initiate communication, she doesn't get communication. She gets notices from the trust to say there's a meeting, and the meeting notices are in the line of, we need a quorum at the meeting for a decision that needs to be made. Other than that, no communication. Now, these are pensioners. You know the price of airtime, you know the price of data. It's not on. These people are not email and telephone and data and tech savvy. A lot of us sitting here have our parents that we had to set up on a meeting. So, you know, if we're going to go to meetings, let it be substantial. We make an effort to go there. If there is communication, let it be concise and clear that anybody from an 80-year-old person to somebody in primary school can sit down and explain it and read it and understand it to and explain it to the older person if they need to. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Davids. I think that most of the questions that you are directing to us is going to be difficult to give you the answer just now, because we are running the process in trying to get the answers from national, as they are responsible to make sure that you get that information. But I promise you, we are not going to be tired in trying to get the answers to the question and to improve communication between the District 6 and the claimants and the department.
Thank you, ma'am. I mean, we appreciate the effort that you guys are putting into it, but I think the issue here is also that everybody needs to pull together. It's pointless you guys are making the effort and we're not seeing the same effort coming from national.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Over to you, and then after Mr. Khan. Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask if we can be excused because my aunt, like I said, she's 93 and I can see she's getting tired. Me, myself, I have to travel to Worcester. Can you see that is what happened when you are forcefully removed from District 6 to Manenberg and I went to Worcester for a better life. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. I will communicate via email again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we also appreciate your mom for being here and you may really live. And we'll make sure that we communicate with you and the way forward from the standing committee. What is it that we are going to do? We'll continue communicating with you. Let me give Mr. Khan and then I'll come. Oh, we are living together.
Yes.
So let me give you.
Thank you so much. Eh?
Madam Speaker and Chairperson, yes, something that we forgot to mention today was, it's a struggle to get the 108 names from the National Department. They just refuse to publish it. If everything was done fair, then there shouldn't be a problem. And I understand the POPI Act and the sharing of information and that. But I mean, if the process was fair, why have a problem of publishing the 108 people? And then I want to request from this committee, if it's possible, to request an order to be done of the 108 people. An order to be done, who the 108 people is, and if the process was fair. And then you get all these different bodies, the reference group, the working group committee, the trust, and then you get all the other government institutions as well, and the spheres in government. What is the possibility of creating an oversight committee of checking if everyone, like the lady said, who is accountable for doing what? Who's going to be held accountable? So I know the provincial government don't have the mandate to instruct national, but they can advise and recommend to national that they should create an oversight committee to oversee all these other bodies if everyone is doing the jobs proper. And I know the reference group was constitutionally elected. But why, if they were elected by the people, why then have a problem of publishing the 108 names? And they work hand in hand with the national government. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think that was the last. Okay. So.
Thanks. Chairperson, I just want to say, for the few people that was here and those online, it's a very clear message on that claimant that passed on, whether we relegate it, whether we start all over again. And I just want to point out, Chairperson, that if that's the case, it's terribly unfair. Because we can't relegate people because their mother passed away or their father passed away. The claim should stay in place and it should be honored to whoever the beneficiary is in that thing. And I want to remind the Chairperson that online we've had about 4 people, and here we're looking at 4, 5 years, and there's only 9 claimants here. So it's a very serious matter that if the original claimant is passed on, that it's rather relegated. And just imagine that house is the beneficiary is a grandchild. Just imagine if that child is going to get a house. So that's my major concern here. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the, and I really appreciate all of you being here today. So I'm going to hand over to I'm going to request the city to talk to the claimants about the issue of the occupation certificate, because the department indicated that one of the things that is holding back allocation of the houses to the beneficiaries of District 6 is the occupation certificate. Is there anyone from the city that can really give us a clarity on that regard? Do they know about the request for that? I saw we do have MMC.
Chair?
Yeah.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you so much, Chair. Well, I've got my colleagues here. I see Nigel Titus. I'd like him to respond on the matter. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Boy. Chair, we have had discussions with the Department of Rural Development. There are a number of things that they've asked us that we should assist with the processing of applications on their behalf, and it is being attended to at the moment. So we're hoping that that will be resolved quite soon, that there's compliance so that those certificates can be signed off in that regard.
If I may ask, how long have you been having that with you, that request for the occupation certificate? And how long does it take under normal circumstances? Because if the claimant, District 6 claimants are saying it's about since June to now that they've been told they're going to move in those houses, and it's only the occupation certificate that is outstanding, it will be a worrisome scenario if that really is the case that is making the whole thing not to happen for them.
Chair, my apologies. I don't know the exact dates of when these have been recorded, but I can get back to you. Allow me to get back to you in writing so we can confirm. Occupancy certificate deals with quite a number of things pertaining to a development. So let me rather get the clarity of exactly what it is that was raised and what was done to resolve that. If I could be allowed that, then we'll get back to you in a couple of days' time. That's in order.
Okay, we will appreciate that. We'll really appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to now hand over to the legal advisor, or before the legal advisor, how do I go about? Let me start with the legal advisor before the members can ask the questions, to talk to us about the issue of the POPI Act, that we couldn't get the answers on the metrics that we sent to the department whilst we were trying to get the answers on behalf of the land claimants. That what is the revenue that we can use to get the information? Do we have something a tool that can empower the standing committee to get the responses on behalf of the land claimants, or we don't have that at all? Advocate Romeo Masdorp, do you have maybe an idea how can we go about?
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Of course, I cannot speak to specifics of individual claimants. Some of the claimants in their submissions have indicated that they understand the spirit of the POPI Act. So I think that the claimants, and of course I believe that this committee is very much sensitized to the purpose and the spirit of the POPI Act. The Department National, like I said, I can't speak to specifics, but just in general, the Department National, of course, obtained personal information of claimants in order to process that information for a specific purpose, and the information was given voluntarily by individual claimants. Unless the department has the consent of individual claimants to further process information, it cannot onsend or process, because the word process in the Act has a very extensive meaning. It cannot further process that information without the consent. So I can certainly understand why information, as far as the department is concerned, is being withheld, but it certainly does not mean that individual claimants can avail information to the committee, because individual claimants can give this committee any information that they feel, they believe, would serve a legitimate purpose to an end that the committee can serve. So if the Department National indicates that they cannot give information because they are constrained by legislation. That is understandable, and that is nothing untoward about that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions from the members? I think maybe before we do the questions, members, if you can indulge me that we I want to hear from you. Would you want us to have a 5 minutes break, or you would prefer that we continue?
Thank you, Chair. Is Member Brankes here? Do you want to go for a break first, Chair, or can I pose a question?
I was thinking that maybe we should do the questions, and after the question to the legal advisor first, and then take a break. If you agree to that, then when we come back, it will be that questions to address some of the issues if they are there.
In order, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Member Maran, Member Brankes, I think I see only the two hands. Can I start with you, Member Maran?
Thanks, Chairperson. Look, Chair, first let me clarify the issue of, and I think there was a misunderstanding. A gentleman called Chair Sally. If you, for instance, Chair, and I'm not sure whether the claimants got a hold of the matrix document that's been forwarded to us as members. And if you look, for instance, at the responses to each submission, Chair, the one said that all R9, all reference numbers, according to this document, all R9 that starts with R9 is claims that's been put in after 1998. Now, Mr. Saim said, and I believe him, I have no reason to doubt what he was saying, that the claim was put in 1996. All I'm saying, Chair, is that he gave us not us, but when he was speaking about his claim, a reference number that starts with R9. Meaning R9 came after 1998. And I'm not sure, basically, when it touched to the point that Tanya Davids raised, it seems that when the initial claimant passed on, it seems now that it does not go to the beneficiary, which is the children, but it has to be submitted as a new claim. I was just making that reference that R9s, according to this document, is claims that we submitted after 1998. But also, Chair, the reason why I'm asking whether claimants have received maybe this document, so they can look at the responses from the department. For instance, there's some persons that have made a submission. The department's response is that we now requires a claimant reference number. And there's a couple of them. They are requiring now a reference number. Are these claimants aware that the department now requires a claimant number? Whether the response from the department basically that went to them according to them. And then, Chair, there was also responses from the department, which says that, and there's a number of them, in listening to the claimants when they speak, basically all of them submitted their claims before 1998. But there's a number of them that got R numbers, R9 reference numbers. And I'm not sure what's happening within the department, whether they've lost basically the initial documents and now afterwards issuing R9 reference numbers, which actually said it's only after 1998. And I think it's unfair towards claimants. It's really unfair when you listen to when claimants speak and when these claims were submitted early in the 90s, just after 1994, 1996, and 27, 28 years later on, it has not been finalized. And then, Chair, I'm not surprised then when the Court take a decision or make a ruling which says that before you deal with any new claims, and I think new claims basically started from 2016, you first have to finalize the claims that have been submitted before the cutoff date of 31st December 1998. Chair, yeah, it's really unfair towards these claimants. Some of them have died. It also seems that the generation after them, some of them also have died. And I'm not sure how long these claimants will have to wait for them actually to taste the benefit of the claims that they have put in, Chair. So I just want to clarify that particular issue. I'm not, Chair, I have no reason to doubt what Mr. Siam said that their claims was put in before 1996 or but 1996. It's just the R9 reference number which is a bit problematic to me, because according to the reference to the matrix document, all reference numbers that starts with R9 is basically claims that be submitted between July 2014 and 27 July 2016. It's a huge blunder, I think, from the National Department when it comes to that. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Member Brenkes and after Member Van der Westhuizen.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, can we ascertain from National that what is the soonest date this year still, or otherwise early next year? What is the earliest date that we can have National in our midst in the meeting? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I think we have written how many communications requesting that we meet with them about this issue. I think it's about 3, if not 4 letters, trying to engage with them. This will be the 2, okay. On the 8th April, on the 5th of May, on the 12th of May, on the 8th of May, we communicate. On the 26th of July, we communicated. So we've been communicating up to now so many times trying to engage with the department, but we'll still continue to try until we get the communication. Because the key issue is the communication that has to happen between the department and the claimants. That communication has to happen. And we are talking about not the after 1998, we are talking about the 1,201 minus maybe 139 that received the houses initially, and you still 1,602 that want to move back, that the department have to communicate with them. And 2014 onwards, those claimants, they're still outstanding. We don't have the figures of those claimants. So that communication has to happen, and we are trying. What we are doing now, Member Brenkes, is to try to get that communication going. Member Van der Westhuizen, over to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair, and thank you very much. And thank you very much to everybody who shared their stories with us. It's absolutely heart-wrenching to hear these stories and to see the lack of speed in the restitution process, and I can only think that it's complete incompetence that has really caused all of these delays. Just to go back to the occupancy certificate, Chair, my understanding is that an occupancy certificate requires a number of other certificates, such as the engineering, the plumbing, the certificate of compliance for the electrical installation, etc. So can we just ask when the City of Cape Town respond regarding, the application date for the occupancy certificate, whether all those required certificates were also submitted, and if still, some of them are still outstanding, if we could just learn which of these certificates are still outstanding, so that we can pinpoint the problem and try to also overcome this hurdle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think they are listening, and if I can get the indication that they commit when they respond to us in a few days, they will also indicate about that commitment from the city.
Chair, the request is noted. We will highlight if there are any things that the department needs from the city that may be a stumbling block in them performing their duties. So we will give a broad response.
Okay, that is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. I don't see any hand. Member Maran, is it an old hand only one?
It's a legacy and chairperson.
Okay, now it's a legacy hand. There's no questions to our legal advisor, to Advocate Masdor, from the members, because the issue is that what he's saying is going to help us on the way forward. So it's clear from the members what he said to us. Okay, I'm going to take that now is clear to members. And we can continue with the questions. Is there any questions? Any questions from the claimants? Okay, I don't see any hand raised. So, Advocate Masdorp, here's another one. We received the metrics that we have the document, and I know the members also, they do have that. And the members, the plan is we are not going to go through the metrics that we receive, because even some of the claimants that submitted, that did their written submission, also they did the oral submission. But with the, I think with the POPI Act, we'll have to submit the responses from the department individually. You will get the communication from me about what did the Land Commission or the department said about the submission that you did. That will be the step number one. And the step number two also, we will say what are we going to do moving forward in that. But most important thing to the claimants, the land reform and restitution, the Department of Agriculture, land reform and restitution, we don't have the mandate. What was a concern to us as the standing committee is the issue of you get a 94-year-old still waiting for a house at the District 6, and we do have the mandate of the house in this province, of housing in this province. That's where we came in, but we are not empowered to can say we will build the houses for the District 6. The Department of Agriculture and Land Restitution is the land reform and restitution are the ones that have to do their job. So the sad part is that the claimants, some of the claimants were communicating with us and asking the questions. And we are government. We can never say to them that we are not government while it's this province. We have to try and get the answers from national to be able to communicate what is it that they're saying it's happening to all of you as a District 6 land claimants. The issue of after so many years, you still are waiting. It's really a sad part that is happening. And we acknowledge that that is happening. We can never say there can be a reason why it hasn't happened like it's supposed to do. And especially if there's no communication, because even if there is some hurdles that are happening, have to be communicated to the claimants that here are the hurdles, so that you also are part of the process of that land restitution. So we are going to take also the submission that we received now, do it again and send them to the department for the Land Commission or the department to see if they can respond to that. But with what our legal advisor have said, we need to see what tool can we use to make sure that we can be allowed to get the information on your behalf, because the POPI Act doesn't allow them to give us that information. So we have to see that what is it that can be empowering the standing committee to receive the information on your behalf, and then we will distribute that information to you as soon as we receive that information. So bear with us. The only thing that we can do for now is to make sure that we get the communication going between the department and yourselves, and to make sure that we are also asking the city, the occupation certificates, they must always make sure that they are on on par with making sure that they check everything to issue that certificates for those that have to move in. So we will be working together in that fashion to make sure that that can happen. And we will engage with you since we started this process this way. We'll engage with you, updating you. We do have your emails and your WhatsApp. We will always update you to say what is it that's happening. But with the comments that they made, you will get also in the email or in writing, Shamis? In the email. So you look at the email from the standing committee to say what were their responses. I cannot read them out there because there is some personal information also for all of you. You will have a look at it, and then after you can respond to us so that we can have that conversation on the individual. I know it will be a lot of work, but it's our responsibility to make sure as a government that you get the answers at the end. If we can get the answers and we can fast track, maybe days, it will be something that can fast track the process for the land, for the District 6 to really make sure. If I can get the old lady to be able to go back, it will be a blessing for me. I'll say that out of this committee, at least I made something that, and your dad, to make sure that they go there. So thank you very much. The committee is going to take a 5 minutes break before we do the resolutions. But before that, I was just going to ask the members, is there members who wants to say something to the claimants before I release them? Member Brett Herron?
Chair.
We can hear you. Is there something that you want to say to the claimants before I release them?
Well, Chair, I don't really have a question, but I think it's obvious that we have a crisis. It's heartbreaking to hear people talking about things that have been, the claims that go back to the late 90s and are looking for answers. So we can go round and round in circles hearing these complaints, but they're not new. I mean, we've known about these for the last 2 decades. And so there's something seriously wrong in the structure of this land restitution process. I mean, we need to actually engage directly with the department and address these residents and these claimants' concerns, because otherwise we'll be here in 2 decades' time having made no progress. So I don't have questions. I'm just, it's trite almost to say what I'm saying, but I feel deeply wounded for these claimants that almost 30 years later there's no progress and we're not able to give them answers. So I think that we need to, when the committee makes, deliberates, we need to work out a way forward that is more meaningful than just hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Member van der Westhuizen?
Yes, Chair. I, from my side, would really like to thank each and everyone who participated today. And as Honourable Herron has said, it's not new, but I believe it's of great value to be reminded of the struggle that these people have had, and particularly the age of some of these claimants. I think this is quite touching. We all have parents, we all have grandparents, or have had grandparents, and I think it's just right that the wrongs of the past are being addressed. That is the whole issue of land restitution, and it is really a pity that it's been thwarted. And I think from our side, this was a public forum. It is on YouTube. I sincerely believe that it's not only us that took notice of this today, but that there are many others, and that it can be referred to in the future. And I would like to, and I think I speak on behalf of my colleagues, to say that we will do what we can do, also when we come back for our resolutions, to see to what extent can we assist by bringing this process to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Member Maran, last word.
Thanks, Chair. Look, Chair, just from my side, we're sitting in the standing committee as different political parties, and mine is the African National Congress. But when at the national level our government is failing, we must chair basically speak truth to power and admit that the National Department of Rural Development, when it comes to this specific matter, have failed claimants. There's no way that you've submitted your claim 1996, 1997, prior to the cutoff date of 31st December 1998, and you are still waiting for a house. It cannot be fair, Chair, for a person to be homeless and he's relying on a government that he put his trust in to provide him with a house that was been taken through the act, basically remove people from their homes, remove people from the inner city where they have stayed in Cape Town. I've heard that one of the claimants, Chair, resides in Worcester, and Worcester, Chair, is it's 10 minutes drive from where I'm staying, and it clearly tells you a story, Chair, how scattered claimants are, where they basically have to look and fend for themselves and to have a roof over their head. So, Chair, from my side, Chair, and I'm honest when I'm saying that we have to make sure, Chair, that before more people die, that this particular issue has been resolved, that claimants have received what they have claimed for, promises been made, that those promises has been basically delivered. So, Chair, that's basically from my side. I fully also agree with what you have said, and that's basically my question. The matrix document that we have received, even if the response of those individuals that have basically submitted or made that they receive, Chair, the responses from the department, so that they can have a look at what the department is saying. As I've said, some say you have submitted your claim after 1998. And these claimants will tell you whether it's true or not when they receive basically the response of the department. And at a later stage, maybe, Chair, they can then say to us, but what the department say is not true, here is the truth. Some were saying, for instance, the responsibility also now, claimants have submitted their claims. The responsibility now is on claimants to submit basically a reference number because the department don't have it anymore. How it's possible, I don't know. Say that the department have lost some of the information. It is now the responsibility of the claimant to basically to provide the reference number and maybe also other information. Chair, claimants have now put their trust in us, and we do not need to disappoint them. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Member. Member Brenkis. I forgot to tell Member Maran just a minute. So.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, as the respected claimants are waiting now for more than 2 decades, I think we as a standing committee, we cannot tolerate waiting for the National Department to appear and to come address these issues on our platform also for 2 decades. So before we are going to wait for national government to come after 2 decades, I think we have to really, as a standing committee, put our heads together, and very, very soon, still in this year, I think not waiting for next year, still this year also, to try to get national. This morning, I was in a meeting in the standing committee of the Premier and Constitutional Affairs, where we tried to get the National Department of Home Affairs onto our platform. And for some reason, they also couldn't make it to come to our meeting this morning. So it seems like this is a trend of national government that when the provincial legislators ask them to respond to these issues, then they don't respond. So I think we as a committee, really we have to put our heads together, and I think we are capable, looking at our chair, yourself, I think we are most capable of making contact with national department to get them as soon as possible and to come address these issues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. MMC Boy, would you want to say something?
Thanks, Chair. Not much. I think majority of things have been said by your committee members in this this session, but we will continue to do our level best as a city to support those claimants from District 6, and it's for that reason that we are also dealing with some of the issues that are coming as an hindrance to this progress. But the team that is here from the city is committed to make sure that one day, and we're hoping that it will be soon, that they get their housing opportunities. It's a pity that this has happened, but what I would suggest as well is that perhaps this must be escalated through various platforms, but also the Premier can take it up with the presidency when they attend their sessions, so that the claimants can also feel that as the city and as a Western Cape province, we taking priority and taking this matter very seriously. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, MMC Boy. CFO, Mr. Francois Divet, are you still with us? From the Department of Human Settlements, any representative of the province?
Chairperson, I'm still with you. It was very interesting to listen to all the submissions of the claimants. From our side, where we can assist, we will assist to our level best. Unfortunately, this process is driven by another sphere of government and another department, but as indicated before, we will certainly assist where we can assist. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I need to also say that I cannot say thank you enough from the claimants really for allocating time to come here, so that, you know, when you read and when you listen to people talking, it's not the same. So your contribution today, I think, to the members and to the community as large, because if it's on YouTube and even the corners of your Limpopo, Mpumalanga, they can see this, is something that will really indicate the necessity that in the government, when you are allocated responsibility, you have to know that it's about the communities out there. It's not about the position or about sometimes we have sometimes the government's departments, you'll find that they say, no, the process, I have to do this, I have to do that, after that, forgetting the emotions that are with the communities, that the expectations. Because if I come to you and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to return you to where you were forcefully removed, there's expectations that I have given you. And it becomes something that is attached to you, that at least the correction is going to happen. But how it has happened, it has made the governments look like we are failures to our communities. And it's not like that. You'll find that it's a certain department that has to do something, and it becomes the whole government is not working. Now we are talking about the Department of Land Reform and Restitution. Is in national. We don't have the mandate in the province to can do something unless they come and say, province, can you assist us in doing 1, 2, 3, 4, then we can be held accountable by the District 6 to say that, okay, National said to us, this is what's going to happen, so how far are you? Now, that is not what happened. It's just for us to give you the information, like I indicated, the communication within the government and the communities. It's very important to know, where do you stand? Because we live with the plannings in our lives. And immediately, if we don't, when we created an expectation and we don't fulfill that expectation, we look like we don't care about our communities. And this is the scenario where it's an emotional scenario to say that, how do I look at a 94-year-old and I'm sitting here and now I'm contributing in raising a hope to her to say that maybe something will happen. And I'm sitting here not knowing that if there's something that is going to happen, the only thing is to communicate and try again and again to the department in National to say that, when are you going to give that old lady her house, to make sure that at least what is still holding her is to say, I'm going to go back where I was removed forcefully. Now, it's such a heart-wrenching thing that is happening, and you can hear from the members as they say that we are going to try everything we can. We will look at any revenue that we can use to make sure that that communication, we don't have the responsibility directly. If they can give the department, the CFO of the Department of Human Settlements, here is pledged his commitment that if they can say they need help, they will do that, but they haven't done that and they haven't delivered. I mean, if you build about 200 and something houses after 25 years, and you have 1,200 that you still have to give houses, that means after 25 years, it's 200 and something houses. Another 25 years is going to be 400 and something houses. How are you going to do that? The Department of Human Settlements in their province, they sit in their province, they build more houses within a year, thousands and thousands of houses. Why don't you say, I don't specialize in building houses. Let me give the department that specializes in building houses to build those houses and make sure that the housing part of the restitution happens, because District 6 is not about the housing only. There's more, the development around that place has to happen. So if the only part of it of the housing is not happening, it's sad. It's sad for the whole government in National to say that they care about the communities, they are going to correct the apartheid system. But in fact, they're making the District 6 families to feel the apartheid system again and again and again without, I don't know, it's just an emotional thing to me. But I want to say again, thank you very much. And I'm going to release you so that the members can, after 5 minutes, come back so that we can have a resolution of what is it that we are going to do after. But the communications will be coming to you to see where, what did the Land Commission say, and we will take it from there. I think that the members also, we will have a session with our legal advisor so that we can just have everything in place to see what is it that we can do to make sure that communication, we try to get that communication going between us and the department so that we can have answers for you in the District 6. Over to you, Sir.
Chairperson and members and everyone, I just want to firstly apologize for, you can hear the frustration in our voices, but it's not at you. It's because of the whole procedure. And like you said, Chairperson, you can just imagine if we know now the experience that you are experiencing with National Department, there's no communication. The same with us, it's like we're speaking to a tree in a wall and there's just no response. And also, lastly, I want to thank you, and you shouldn't be thanking us, because now we have a voice. Someone is listening to us. It's almost like, to me, it feels like going to a counseling session where we can just lay out our frustration. And you must not take all the bashing, but it's not bashing at you. So firstly, we apologize for the frustration here, but also thank you from our side to you, because now we have a voice, and we hope and pray that you guys will succeed. on behalf of us.
Thank you very much. And do they still have coffee? You still have coffee before you go home. You can go to the members' lounge and drink coffee. Members, we can have 5 minutes break and come back so that we can do the resolutions of the way forward. So
No,
we'll be back.
continue, let's finish.
We will be back 16:57. Thank you very much, members. I am going to also allow the online claimants. Thank you very much also for your contribution. You can leave the meeting. And to the department also, thank you for being with us today. And we really appreciate you being with us today. The city, the same applies to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll wait for the communication from you. Advocate Masdorp, please don't leave now. And we will have the resolutions by the members and just a small session with Advocate Masdorp. Okay. If the IT can indicate is only us or Member Maran? I want to ask them, Shumis, must it be the closed meeting? It's not the closed meeting, so we can continue. Member Maran, I'm listening.
Thanks, Chair. Look, Chair, as you said, we're going to deal now with the resolutions for the item that we have dealt with just now. But I think, Chair, it's important to note the response by the City of Cape Town in terms of the request for occupational certificates. It's important to note the response, and the response was they don't know. They admit there was a request for the occupational certificates, but they don't know when that request was forwarded, and it also seems that they don't know how far that particular process are. Chair, I think that's it's unacceptable. I don't want to raise this issue and have a tit for tat in front of these claimants, but I think the response of the City of Cape Town is just unfair. The department is saying, for instance, this is one of the issues that's basically standing in the way of people receiving their houses, and they have submitted that request to the City of Cape Town. And then when you ask the City of Cape Town in terms of that particular issue, their response is one like they don't know. They don't even know when that request. They will come back to us at the later stage and say when it was submitted. And then at that stage, we will only see, for instance, how long this particular issue is dragging. I just thought, Chair, it's important to raise that particular issue. Thanks.
Now, it's noted, Honorable Member. We will see the communication. They say they will send the communication within days after they've compiled it for us. So we can ask the procedural officer to request that they indicate when did they receive the request and when did they receive the engineer's certificates and all that is needed before the occupation certificate can be issued. Then we will take it from there if there's anything that we can do after that or comment to them, or we will take it after we have received the right information. For now, it's a little bit difficult as we don't have all the information. It's usually difficult when you say to the department or to say that, okay, when did you receive out of the head? It won't be as easy as that, but that is noted. I see the hand of Member van der Westhuizen.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I want to support you with that motion. But can I ask that we also be served with the dates and the correspondence, or the dates of correspondence? We don't need the full correspondence, but if the application was made and if the city then found some of the certificates to be outstanding, did they then communicate this timelessly to the applicant, etc.? So if we could, as a matter of urgency, ask our procedural officer to send off that request, and let's get the detail that we need, so that should there be any delays from the city side, that the necessary corrective action can be taken as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Member Heron.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think the certificates of occupation or occupancy certificates for the latest phase is is a small component of a much bigger problem. And I think we really need to confront this thing in a much more holistic way. I mean, the Group Areas Act was abolished in 1991, 30 years ago, and District 6 is like a monument to that Group Areas Act. I mean, it's a vast, underdeveloped space within our inner city where thousands of claimants are waiting to come home, and many are dying, as we heard, waiting. And so we have to ask, and I don't know how we get to the answers, whether the current development model that is being pursued by the department is the right approach, where they are providing land restitution and they're developing houses, because they're developing at such a slow pace that it's meaningless. So I don't know, I mean, how we get to unpack the current development model and to champion a new model that will develop much quicker for all those beneficiaries and who are waiting. And then I think we also need to deal with the inconsistencies in the project. That those who took occupation in the first phase of District 6 actually paid for their homes. They've got bonds on those homes, whereas later phases, people are getting the homes for nothing. So in that District 6 redevelopment, in the 3 phases, you have different models of ownership, where people in the first phase are currently paying off mortgage bonds, where later phases are getting their houses for free, and that's fundamentally unfair. So I think we need to really dig deep into this thing, and I don't know, I mean, we're struggling to get the Department of Land Affairs and Rural Development and Agriculture to assist us, but we really need to engage with that department and the Land Claims Commissioner to unpack the development model, to understand how they're going to resolve the inconsistencies where the first occupants are paying bonds on those properties, and how this project can move forward in a much faster way. I don't know the answers, and I don't know how we get there, but we can't be focused on occupancy certificates when there's still thousands of people waiting to find a solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And members, I think we captured that, but we still have to say, how are we going to go about from here? What is the way forward? And I've requested that Advocate Romeo Masdorp sits in so that he can help us that how do we go about. So I want to hear from the members. We got the metrics, and we are going to, Shamiz is going to send individually to the claimants the responses that we received from the department. Now we cannot send, as you saw, some of the responses of the office response to all inquiries directly with the principal claimant. So those are the ones that Shamiz will ask the claimant if he agrees to give us the information, to share the information if there has been a communication from the department. And it will come back to the standing committee to see if there's been a communication or not, and then we'll take that. But if we receive that, no, there hasn't been a communication at all, and the department have said that, what's the next step that are we going to take? And 2, there is also from my side, there is a sort of a complaint from some of the District 6 claimants that they said the period that we allocated of a month was, by the time they saw the information, the advert, it was closed, and they want to be given a chance also to submit to do the submission. So the other option is we can say we are going to open it to receive those until maybe the end of January. That is a suggestion. If the members agree. But the member Brenges came with another one that we have to try to engage with the department before the end of the year, or like member Heron is saying, the Land Commission, maybe, if we can be able to engage with them before the end of the year. So those are the options that I've heard from the members, and I need to get the direction of the way forward to what is going to be the first one that we do. No, the second one, because we are going to send the information and try to get if there was any response. I'm throwing back to the members that now, what are your expectations that you want me to do from here? Member Herren?
Chair, I mean, in the absence of cooperation from the department, we need some form of access or entry. And I mean, the Land Claims Commission in the Western Cape, the head is usually quite cooperative. And so maybe that is an access point for us to start engaging there. Because I think we need to understand this development model and whether it can be changed, because the current process is completely unfair. And if we can't get support or information out of the department, I would suggest that we try as an access or entry point the Land Claims Commission.
Okay, members, are you in agreement?
Agreed, Chair.
Okay.
If I may continue.
Okay.
Chair, I think we must keep on inviting the department to come and brief us and keep on writing to the Minister of Land Reform. In addition to, trying to engage with the Western Cape Commissioner, but I don't think we should relent just because they have not yet responded. I also want to say if we could ask them then to propose dates within our calendar, if we can give them a number of or days that we would, it would fit us, and then ask them to see what date they want to choose. But I really believe we should be leaning backwards to see to what extent can we get the national minister to come and address us, because it's only by speaking to the minister that we, I think, are really going to be able to get the necessary answers as to the model, how they came to the model, etc. That Honourable Herron has asked about, because I think he's raised very pertinent points, and I think it's something for us to explore even further.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't remember, that's how I've been trying to do. So when we write to the department, I will say, I will give the date and say, or an alternate number that will be suitable for them to come and engage with us. So always the letter has been that way, but we don't get any date that they say they are available. And now the final letter that we got is the one that they say, and I will read it in verbatim, and I'll hear from Advocate Masdor. How do we respond to this after you have listened to the members? They say, notice of committee meeting and oversight visit, because I also requested if you can go for an oversight. They are custodian of that land parcel. So they say this serves to acknowledge the invitation by the Western Cape Legislature Standing Committee on Human Settlements to attend its meeting and table presentation. As you are aware that the governance system regulating the relationship between the executive and the legislature in South Africa is determined by the Constitution. Members of the National Executive account to the National Assembly and to the National Council of Provinces, which is the NCOP, on provincial related matters. I therefore recommend that you approach the NCOP for such matters. So they've developed a generic letter that they're giving to each and every portfolio committee if we want to engage with them. We never said we want to see the minister. In fact, we wanted to engage with the department so that we can have an understanding, like a member Herren is saying, maybe we need to go to the Land Commission. They can also explain to us maybe the processes of how they go about. So I know member Van der Westhuizen that we will write again to the department in national to engage with us, but this is something that they're sort of saying that don't communicate with us directly, go through the NCOP. But we are not talking about the engaging the minister. We don't even have to see the minister as long as we can get the department that can come and explain to us. But I want to hear from Advocate Masdorp with what a member is saying. What do you say? And after I've read the letter that they communicated to us, how do you empower us with your knowledge?
Chairperson, with respect to you, it's a bit difficult for me in the absence of a pertinent legal question to respond to and assist the committee. What I will say, however, having heard the letter, secondly, I am of the view that, mindful of the committee's mandate, limited as it is in this instance, oversight is a word which we should stay far away from, because in this instance, oversight is not the angle to take. Information is not forthcoming, it seems, from the department. I think Member Heron has touched on something by suggesting that maybe the Western Cape branch of the Land Claims Commissioner office should be approached. What I'm taking from that, and this could be a suggestion, is that in as much as information and the pursuit of it is not successful thus far, maybe there should be a more institutional pursuit. So the frustration from the claimants was palpable, meaning that it needs to be vented. And I think political ventilation is the one way. Another member of the meeting has indicated that even via the forum where the premiers meet, even MINMEC can be a forum. I'm just saying that there should maybe be an institutional ventilation as opposed to via the committee. It won't be prudent, with respect to you and the members of this committee, it won't be prudent to obtain, to solicit, to gather information and contrive it in a way so that it becomes part of our mandate. I think that in turn will also create undue expectations, and I think I would certainly advise that we stay away from that route. I think Member Heron touched on something. I would therefore suggest, Chairperson, with respect, that an institutional approach exhausts the institutions available. There's the plenary, where this matter can be politically ventilated. There's MINMEC, there's the land claims, there's even continuous engagement with the department. And like Member Brinkhuis has indicated, obtain a date from them. Let's commit them from their side, and we can then ensure at least their attendance at that time. I say there, it could be the Minister, HOD, or the DG, but certainly get them to commit to a date, Chairperson. But like I said earlier, if you don't mind, in the absence of a pertinent legal question, I don't have any ideas or suggestions to make.
Okay. Just for clarity, Advocate Masdorp, you're saying that we must stay away from going to look at those houses that were built, or it was just, you mean the word oversight as we communicate to the department being engaging, because we don't use that word when we want to engage with the national ministers. So the oversight was just mentioning to go and visit the projects of the District 6.
Yeah,
so you say
Chairperson,
stay away from that.
What I'm really saying is we understand the mandate of the committee. I'm saying that there's nothing that stops this committee from doing a fact-finding site visit. Certainly nothing. But oversight, of course, is not an action or an exercise in and of itself. It is an exercise in order to ensure accountability. And the minister does not account to us. Hence, I'm saying oversight with the capital O, if you like, is not our mission in this regard, but certainly fact-finding. We can go anywhere to go and fact-find. But it should, of course, be towards the advancement of an oversight responsibility. In this instance, fact-finding on site is certainly nothing untoward or outside of our mandate, but not oversight with respect.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable members. So the next step, it will be to invite the Land Commission. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
Yes,
I think,
yes.
okay. I think that's what we will do. We'll communicate with the Land Commission to. Now I want to hear members. Will we be able to still do that this year, or you want us to do it immediately when we come back after the recess? Honorable members, are you still with me?
Maybe after recess, Chair.
Yes, we're still here.
Honorable Herren?
Chair, I would propose that we do it when we come back in the new year.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Honorable members, we will, I think we are at the end of our meeting. We'll communicate with the claimants and then check your emails as we get their responses. We will also share with you to see, so that you can see on your metrics book. Keep your metrics submission safe. And the one that submissions that we got today also, they will come to you so that we can keep track of everything. And then we'll take it from there. The Land Commission, Shemis, will do it. We'll see the date for January. With that being said, honorable members, thank you very much. If I'm not wrong, this is the last Standing Committee of Human Settlements. It's not the last one. Do we have? Oh, we've got the adjustment, so I'll be seeing you. So members, go well. And thanks for being with me until 5:20 is the first time in Human Settlement that you are with me until this time. So I appreciate you and I salute you. And let's make the District 6 community proud in trying to get answers for all the challenges that they have and get that communication with the department. Advocate Masdorp, thank you very much. And the support staff, Johan Shumis, Nomfundo, thank you for being with me through thick and thin today. And I also appreciate you. So members, salute, and the meeting is adjourned.